Hey there guys! Welcome back to my channel. I'm Temperance from Wild Woman Witchcraft, and this is literature, whatever day of the week I'm gonna post it. I put on my Instagram story, well, it was actually my caption for a post a few days ago, that I've decided that I was gonna start posting more about books and literature and research and kind of really delving into written word in paganism. So this is the first video of that series, and I thought it would be really great to start off with, how to acquire these books, especially if you're on a budget, how to acquire these books, and what you're going to be looking for when you're actually reading them. So there are a few different ways that I like to get my books. The first, biggest, easiest way is a subscription service called Scribd or Scribed. I'm not sure which way it's said, and I definitely yelled at someone about it the other day. It is a wonderful subscription-based service that has tons of books. Both Weiser and Llewellyn have their books on this website. You can also get audiobooks. And it's not just, occult books. There's like every religion's there. You can get romance novels, you can get mystery and crime. It's like $10 a month, and oh my gosh, is it the best money that I've spent. I've had a Scribd membership since like 2012 or something, because I used to use it for guitar, and now I use it for, once I realized that they actually had like a huge digital library of witchcraft and occult books, I was like, this is it, this is the move, and I can listen to them as an audiobook when I'm at work. It's so great, so I recommend checking that out. Another subscription-based service, if you really wanted to, is Kindle Unlimited. Kindle Unlimited does not have the same selection as Scribd. It's got mostly self-published, but that doesn't make them bad. It does have some witchcraft and occult books. I think that subscription is also about $10 a month, and it will allow you to have the rest of the Kindle Unlimited library. Additionally, continuing with our trend of digital books, we have libraries. So I swear by it, I'm so happy. The library that I have in my county has Overdrive, which has Libby, and Overdrive and Libby have so much. I think there's another one called Hoopla. Just figure out what your local library has, and you will be able to get the digital books that way. If you prefer print, like most of us do, here are some fantastic tips to getting a print book. The first, still library. The library has so many books, and typically they do happen to have a witchcraft or occult section. The one that I live near has like a ton of branches, so I go from the library that I'm at and I'll go to the big one in the main city, and they have everything. Like, they have Malleus there, they've got Green Witch there, they've got things on ESP, Psychic Witch. If you name it, it's probably at my library. I definitely checked out the Inner Temple of Witchcraft books. Like, they had like the first 3 in that series at my library. I checked those out like back in 2013 or 14 or something, and it's been a really great resource for me to have that, especially like when I'm really tight on money. I'll just check my library and see if they have it there. Another great resource, So another great resource is going to be your online thrift book services. So someplace that I like to look for books, and I've bought a ton of them from, is Thrift Books. Usually books range from like $3 to $5 there. I actually buy my college textbooks there too, because I can get like two versions back for $4, and I'm not spending a couple $100 on a textbook that we reference once or twice. I've never bought the textbook except for one law class because I needed it. Also, you can actually find a lot of pagan and witchcraft books on both eBay and on Amazon used. I don't like to spend, if I'm buying a used book, rule of thumb, I don't like to spend more than $8 on it unless it's a very special book. I spent a lot more than $8 on a few of my used books because they are no longer in print and they're very hard to find. But other than that, try and keep it, if you're buying used, around $8 or less is a fair price. Another way that I like to find books is through my friends. So I will see like they have a book and I'll be like, hey, can I borrow that from you? And it's a super easy way for me to get a hold of books. is how I got a hold of this book and a few others that I'm currently reading. I perpetually borrow books from people that will let me borrow them. And lastly, the way that you can get any book pretty much ever is to just buy it. There's so many ways to buy your books these days. You can go to Barnes & Noble, you can go to Amazon. There are some resources that allow you to buy them from small bookstores online. So I'm going to link that here. I think it's called IndieBound, but don't quote me, I'm going to put it down here in the comments. That's an easy way for you to get a hold of books. Now, the fun part. Talking about how to actually read these books and research them. I have spent a lot of years reading and researching witchcraft books because I like to do it, and then later on so that I could, work with them professionally. And not all books are written the same at all. Like at all. And it's good the first thing I like to do when I get a book, I flip to the back and I look at the bibliography. And if the bibliography is big, like thick, that is a good book in my case. I like to look at who they're citing and what inspiration that they're drawing from, because a lot of books, if I see that a book has drawn from another book that I really don't like, and that's like one of the primary resources that this author is drawing from, it's usually a sign for me that I might not enjoy what I'm about to read. But I usually give everything a fair shot when I read it. When you're reading, start from the front, end at the back. Take notes as you read. Some people are afraid to write in their books, but when I buy secondhand books, I love seeing things in like the margins or things underlined that the previous owner loved, because that's just a connection to the living tradition of witchcraft that you might not have, especially if you're solitary. So I don't know, if you're going to make notes in a notebook, make notes in a notebook, but don't feel bad about marking up your book if that's what you're going to do with it. When you're searching online, it's a different beast. Now, when you're researching online, it becomes a different beast. When I'm researching online, I like to scroll to the very bottom of the post before I start reading it and see if it has any citations. Sometimes they do. That's always a great one for me. When you go on Google, the first thing that you should do, it doesn't really have to be Google, it can be DuckDuckGo or whatever you're using as your search browser. Ask Jeeves. You can go on and ask Jeeves. Let's say you want to research the correspondence for Basil. Instead of going onto a page or a Discord server or something like that and being like, hey, does anyone know the correspondence for Basil? Of course people know the correspondence for Basil, but you haven't done your research. So what I recommend you doing is to go on your web search browser and type in Basil correspondence witchcraft. Enter. It's going to bring you thousands of pages of this. Don't stop at the first one. Read the first 5, maybe continue on, read any sources that they link you to, and that's how you can form that chain. So as you're reading these things, take notes. Is Basil correspondence something that you're going to want to retain? If so, take a note about it. That note can go in your Book of Shadows or your grimoire or wherever you're sticking your notes. I just have like a running notebook that I keep at all times, and then when that notebook fills up, I just store it and I get out a new notebook. So my grimoire tradition is actually a grimoire dex, and maybe one day I'll take you through the Rolodex that is my grimoire, but today is not that day. So I hope you guys found this video helpful. Next time I do the literature whatever day video, should be one next week. I'm gonna really aim for doing one of these a week. Next week we are going to be going over Psychic Witch. Psychic Witch is a very popular book right now, and a lot of people are struggling with it, and I think it's one of the best books that I've read in a while. It's one of the best books, one of the best new author books that has come out, and I'm going to go through it in depth with you guys and hopefully answer some of the questions that you may have. So I will see you then.